When you were elected at this past annual convention, you announced your presidential theme. Why don't you share that with us and let us know what you were thinking when you picked that and what the idea behind it was.
Leadership through advocacy is what I selected. And I did give it a lot of thought. Over the years, you have to understand, as an elected official, you don't know what you don't know. So you learn about it. But then in learning about it, you realize who else may not know or totally understand the ramifications of what they've done. Mm-hmm. So it's good to go and advocate to not only your local constituents through newspaper articles or any other communications that come out of your district, but also to your representatives at the state, your representatives at the federal level, to say, you know, you passed this law and I can see why you wanted to do that and I understand that. But these are ramifications that that law has. And did you take that into account? And the number of times you get, gee, we didn't know. Or we didn't see an immediate cost to it. But then the ongoing maintenance of that particular law is what we call an unfunded or underfunded mandate. Right. Sometimes they'll come out and they'll say, we're going to give you so much money towards this to get it started. And then it slowly gets taken away and the onus becomes on the local taxpayer to maintain that. And then they don't always see that long-term ramification.
Right. School board members collectively make up the largest elected body in New York State. It'd be nice to be able to harness that power in Albany. Tell me how you hope to go about that.
Well, I hope to do a couple of things here. Is not only harness the power of the school board member, who is an elected representative, can go out there and speak for the constituency. But I think they have to speak for that constituency and the number of votes they're representing when they're talking to someone. You know, when you look at a school district, you've got a lot of people in that district that go to the polls. You hope they go to the polls and exercise that right to be able to say, gee, I represent X in my district, and I think there's some algorithm that's put together. You take the number of students and multiply it by a certain number, and that's the approximate number of voters you're representing. Right. And to go in there with that sometimes opens their eyes a little bit, because there are some things that you can state locally. That how did our local representation represent us when we asked them to vote for something one way or another for a school board, given the information we now know how it affects our local district. Right. So I hope to do that with the school board members. Secondly, I think we have to ask our public to help, because seeing something come from the school board members, you do develop a relationship with your elected officials because you see them a little bit more frequently. But you hope to be able to say, gee, local public, can you help us too? Here's some of the points that we have. We need to change not necessarily what's being done, but how it's funded, okay? And there are some things that are duplicative, and we need to minimize this duplication of effort, do it one time right and not 2 or 3 times, so that we can take this person's time and apply it where we need to, and that's in support of the child in the classroom.
Going forward over the next year or two, what do you think members can expect from NYSSBA and kind of along these lines about your efforts about kind of harnessing the power of this elected body and moving forward? What should they expect?
Well, I hope to be able to ask NYSSBA and work with NYSSBA to be able to have technology assist us in being able to communicate, and to be able to even have our public communicate through our channel, to be able to let our elected officials know that it's not the 5, 7, or 9 school board members and their superintendent and a couple of folks explaining it, that we now have parent-teacher associations. We now have the general public that has an ability to communicate to their elected official, not only at the New York level, but also at the federal level, saying, hey, please be cognizant of what you're passing. This is what you're doing. And also try to help our state legislature understand that there are ways to set up their laws that you don't paint everybody with a very wide brush, which happens sometimes based on how media treats education.
Right. Last question, if there's one issue that you think is going to be kind of the main focus this year upcoming, what do you think that is? Maybe one or two issues that you really think deserve a lot of attention from not only NYSSBA and the board of directors here, but local boards as well.
I think the biggest thing we're going to have to work on is mandate relief. We are running into a crunch of money, and we're not asking for more money. We're asking for us to be allowed to use the money we're using in a way that's going to best assist the student in being successful.